Watch out, don't grab me, okay? Y'all take care of me. Yep. Okay.
Oh, wow.
All right, that's it, huh?
Opening statement? You make a statement?
Yeah, hats off to St. Louis. I thought they played a really good game. They're solid. They're a solid football team, and we didn't play up to our standard. I thought our guys kept fighting the whole game. We started moving the ball at the end of the ball game and trying to fight back, and same thing with the defense. So, I'm certainly disappointed. I've got to get us to be in the ball game a little more than we have been the first couple of games. But I still like our effort. I can't. I want that kind of effort, but we just have to execute better, and we haven't.
Coach, do you feel like there was any sort of carryover? Certainly, rosters in spring football are pretty variable, but for folks on the St. Louis side, you saw this as kind of a chance to get back at you guys for last June. Do you feel like any of that?
No. I mean, last year we won the championship game here, and we had good feelings about that. But we didn't play that kind of game today. So, no, I mean, it's football. I mean, we play each other twice, so every year. So it's going to be a rivalry, and of course we won it up here last year. We still got another game to play against them, so we'll try it back. Yeah, I know. Yeah, okay. No. I heard that,
I can
though.
help relay it. Want me to relay or? Yeah. Is there a cause for alarm, or is it just, still room to stay patient, and kind of stay on track?
Well, I'm alarmed, obviously. If you don't win, we got to get on the win column. That's alarming, but that's up to me. I got to get us to play better than we have. Yeah, it's a little bit alarming that they weren't close games. And if we're losing by 3 points on the last play of the game, it's a lot different than getting beat like we have the last couple of games. So, but we have a lot of high character guys. I really believe in them. We're gonna bounce back. Now, when it is, we don't know yet, but it's going to start next week. So we got another challenge. We lost. We lost 3 games last year. So I mean, you can lose games and still bounce back and be in the hunt. And as long as that's out there, that's what we're shooting for.
I think for the offense, it's a whole entire offensive deal, starting from me, AJ, going into play calling, and then us being able to execute. Obviously we got to start faster. Defense gets a turnover in I think the first half, and same thing last week. Defense gets a turnover and we don't capitalize on offense. I thought they had a pretty good plan with some of the blitz in the back and replacement zones, and trying to make us hot and putting pressure on us. And we had some good runs. We just wasn't consistent enough. A few drops. But yeah, I mean it's a whole offense ordeal, starting from game plan all the way down to the lowest level of what that could be.
And my concern too is defensively we hadn't stopped the running game in 2 games. This game it wasn't just the running back; it was the quarterback that had, I think, 60 yards. So that we've got to play better against the run on defense.
You heard it. What do you see about the defensive effort and execution and performance? Yeah.
I feel like we had a good game plan going in the game. Like, we knew what they was going to do. Like, film study, like, that stayed true. Everything in our tendencies and stuff was true. I think just, we just got to get back to doing the basics. Let's say if somebody got the quarterback, we just got to get the quarterback. And, coach can call a perfect play, but it's up to us players to execute them plays. And, I feel like the last 2 weeks we just been failing at that. But, it was some good things out there that we can build off. And, I still have hope in this defense and this team. I know we can turn it up a notch. So that's the great thing about it, because, a lot of our mistakes and stuff that we gave up was self-inflicted. So that when you got self-inflicted wounds, that's something you would rather you can fix. If it's something scheme-wise, that'll be on the coaches and adjusting to that. But for the mistake that was made today, that was all on us players. We just got to be more detailed, hear the call, execute the call, and trust it. That's just a lot when it comes to defense. You just got to trust that your brother's going to do the job that he's supposed to do so you can do your job. And I feel like that's what we let each other down at. But it's something that we can fix.
In English, Oscar. Yeah, I think the turnover battle, we're still right in there, which it hadn't been us turning the ball over a lot and we haven't got, it's pretty even each game. So that's the first thing you look at as far as winning and losing. So we're taking care of the football all right, and we're getting after the football on defense. So that's a positive. And I think our effort is the guys never gave up. They played to the last play as hard as they could play, and I got to get a better scheme, or I got to give them better opportunities. But I still like the way these guys fight, and it's going to pay off for us.
Was he asking me as well, or? Yeah, I mean, I think from an offensive standpoint, it just. You kind of repeat it, and it's a little bit cliche, but it's just about execution. And, I think, we didn't necessarily start off bad. We complete the first third down, and I think, we don't get the following third down. I think one of the biggest plays was, we drive down towards the end of the half, and then we kind of have just a bunch of chaotic and miscommunication, and we have to be a lot better from situational operation, and if we have to use a timeout because guys can't get lined up, anytime you have, 20 to 40 seconds, in a 2-minute drive and you got a timeout, we're golden on offense. And especially if you run the ball, I feel like it's something we either got to use or, it's easy to get a completion and still use the timeout or clock it and keep the timeout. So I thought that was one of the biggest opportunities that we had where we didn't capitalize on, and I felt like we had, a lot of stuff instead of just trying to move extremely fast and be chaotic. But it's just about this game. You don't get a lot of drives, both on offense and defense, and when you get the opportunity, you have to capitalize on both sides of the ball and on special team as well.
Hey, Kelly, last week after Arlington, you talked about how long events you played in a real game.
Yeah.
And just here it is, the following week, just where you felt you got better?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think one of my biggest things was making sure my feet were in the ground. I felt a little bit last week, I was a little bit too hoppy in the pocket and didn't necessarily cause a bunch of inaccuracy. I missed one on the early third down last week that I felt was probably a reason. But that was just one of my main focus, and I felt really well throwing the ball, pushing the ball down the field today. We had a lot of good opportunities. Had a lot of good opportunities on 3rd and long, which, we want to stay out of. But, yeah, I mean, I think I felt really good. I thought we played well. It's just those spurts of when you play really well and then it's that one play that you don't take advantage of, and that's where you end up losing the game. And so obviously you can come down to a bunch of different plays that we didn't capitalize on, and sometimes it just takes that one play where it's a lot closer game, and they, as an offense, play a little bit different, and us, we play a little bit different. So it's just all about being able to capitalize when your opportunity comes.
Thanks, Oscar.
Thank you.
All right, don't run off, Kelly. Oh, you got some stairs? Well, why didn't I use those the first time?
Remember last year they were on that side.